By God, such a time had come when we sat down to eat, and even that meal remained half-finished.
In this mountainous area, they have martyred the children, and others have also been martyred.
Now it comes to mind like this, forget about the hearts. Even my dreams carry such pain that when sleep comes, I tell myself, just sleep.
During the 20-year occupation of the country, no region remained unaffected by the foreign occupiers who came from the West. The occupiers of this 20-year occupation were such looters and marauders that people lived in fear and terror, passing their moments in a state of anxiety and dread. The extent of the oppression, terror, and barbarity was so great that many innocent people became victims of physical, mental, and emotional abuse. The people of this region were so tormented by the fear of raids that they would spend their nights in the forests, trembling with fear. The destruction of homes, their property and belongings were taken away. Planes would land on high ground, and soldiers would be deployed. They would carry out brutal raids on the houses, leaving destruction in their wake. During the raids, people would try to reach safe places, but those who failed in their search for safety were martyred. Villagers would search for days and nights, looking for both the dead and the living. Although the events happened years ago, the scars of the wounds and the cries of the martyrs are still fresh in their eyes. The people affected by the raids have been so exhausted by their bitter stories that they can no longer bear to visit the places where the events took place. During the night raids of the invaders, the people of Tangi Ahmad Khan village in the Jani Kale district of Paktia were affected. During the night raids of the invaders, the bullets rained down like a storm from the sky. By the morning of the raid, the children of the area would fill their skirts with bullets. The colorful and mountainous beauty of this region was engulfed in the dark smoke of explosions. After hours of travel on rough and narrow paths, we reached this area. The people of this region, when remembering those nights and moments, are filled with sorrow in their hearts and tears in their eyes. During the night raids, alongside many other homes in the area, the house of Watan Jan was also destroyed. Now, the sorrow in his face is clearly visible from afar. The numerous hardships have aged his face. During the night raids, he lost the sweetness of life. All his belongings were looted and plundered. His home was shattered to pieces. The remnants of the house now lie scattered in the highlands and valleys, and he no longer has the strength to rebuild it. Out of fear of death and torture, he sought refuge in the embrace of the mountains in the dark of night, hoping to find a safe place.
One night, when I was out of the house, a raid happened, carried out jointly by the Afghan Special Forces and the Americans. They raided this house where only women were inside. They dragged the women out, planted bombs in the rest of the house, and looted everything. The stones are still scattered in the lower fields. That night, they martyred 2 people. They burned all the vehicles they could find. There was a car parked in front of our house, they burned it too. They destroyed around 10 houses that night. They threw them all down. Whenever they raided us, no one could come out of their rooms until morning, no matter what happened. We had to wait until they left. Some people had fled to the forests and returned to their homes only in the morning. It was such a terrifying night that even now, if you ask the children and women who were there, they can't speak out of pain. They cry. Just remembering that night brings them to tears. Whenever that night comes to mind, they cry. That night, there were 4 or maybe 6 helicopters landing in the fields, dropping off soldiers. The Americans would get off and start firing from the air. The stones you saw under our house were all hit by their machines. Right next to our house, they martyred one person. Another person was martyred in the lower house. When they came, the women of our house couldn't leave the upper part of the house. They dragged our women out of their own home and sent them to another house.
The night had settled, and everyone was taking a peaceful breath. The children, like innocent buds, were asleep in sweet slumber. Suddenly, the embrace of terror engulfed the village. The fate of that dark night began. On that night, the souls of many innocents departed. Gulab Jan and his family were searching for their missing brother, thinking he had taken refuge in a safe place. But they didn't know that death had already claimed their brother. The pain of losing him was so overwhelming that he couldn't even turn his face towards the graveyard and could not approach the door of the room. Though he was silent, tears flowed from him, as if they were pouring from a broken heart.
The raid carried out at 11 o'clock at night. We had no information about where my brother was. When we, along with the villagers, searched for him, we found out that they had shot him inside the house. We kept searching outside, but he was already shot inside. All the villagers know this. Right here where we're standing, they burned the car and destroyed the guest house, Hujra. The sun had already risen when we found our brother inside the house. He left behind orphans, he left behind his wife. They live near us, but separately now. That night, they didn't spare even other Muslims. It was that kind of night. It wasn't just me. It was a night of grief for the entire village because none of us could sleep. We were in the mountains. We couldn't stay in our homes. We'd escaped to the mountains, spending the night here or there. And it wasn't just one night, not 2, not 3, not even just a month. This was our every night during that past regime. I swear to you, if it's not absolutely necessary, I don't come to this guest house. Because the moment I come here, that time and those memories instantly flash before my eyes. I remember exactly where I was, where everyone was that night. Even when I visit the graveyard, I can't bear to look directly at his grave. Believe me, when I stand there, the pain forces me to lower my eyes.
He gazes at the image, and tears start to fall from his eyes, broken and endless. No matter how much his thoughts race forward and backward, his mind remains fixed on one direction. Now, even the flowers at his brother's grave have withered, but the pain and memories of every member of his family are still as fresh as ever in their hearts.
Every person should imagine themselves in such a situation. Imagine your own brother dying helplessly in front of you. Oppressed like that. You will see him standing before your eyes forever, just like you and I are looking at each other now. That's how he will stay before your eyes. What can I even say? Our hearts have turned into pools of black blood. By God, sometimes we sit down to eat, and right in the middle of eating, the pain strikes so deep we can't finish our food. That food loses all taste. It's been about 5.5 years since that incident, since they martyred him. Now, his eldest child has reached 8 years old. And the youngest daughter is about 9 or 10.
Aminullah speaks of the pain of 2 brothers. He tells the story of those moments when his 2 dear brothers were drenched in blood, and by the next morning, their bodies were carried out of the house for burial. The heavy burden of grief rests upon his shoulders. He speaks with deep sorrow about losing his brothers, relatives, and fellow villagers. The miseries of that night are forever etched in his heart.
That raid was an extremely brutal raid. 2 of the raids were especially severe, though there were many others too. In this area, people suffered greatly. Many were martyred. I, myself, lost 2 of my brothers, both martyred. And it wasn't just in our village, it was in the neighboring villages, the surrounding areas, this whole region. This is the Tangi area, and there are other villages within it. Raids were carried out in all these villages, and every household suffered. People endured many painful nights. Believe me, when we remember those days, it's not just our hearts, it's like even our dreams are filled with pain. Even when sleep comes, it feels unbearable. Sometimes when I recall that scene, those moments and my brothers, my heart tells me to just take sleeping pills and sleep, because the pain is too heavy to bear. May God never bring such days upon other Muslims. May God never bring such suffering back to Afghanistan.
Another resident of the village, Zafar Khan, also became a victim of the brutal raids and shares the story of the destructive assault. He says that during the raid, the fear and terror came from the savage actions of the invaders.
They committed so many atrocities in this place. There were heavy bombings and the Americans would come in helicopters, in airplanes. They couldn't come by road, so they only came through the air, in aircraft. This is a mountainous area. In this mountainous region, even children were martyred, others were martyred too, and people suffered immensely. There's a house here known as Malik John's house. They occupied that. They destroyed 5 or 6 other houses as well. They caused the people so much suffering and pain. They burned people's vehicles. Even a vehicle belonging to the village madrasa, they burned that too. That madrasa was where the village children used to go. They burned their vehicle. They burned pickup trucks, they burned motorcycles. They brought endless suffering and hardship upon the people. These were ruthless, merciless Americans. They showed no mercy to anyone, none at all. There's so much more that we don't even know about what was destroyed inside the houses. The damage they caused, there's not a single thing they left intact. Just like everything in our house was destroyed, the same happened to the other 6 houses. They destroyed everything.
The brutality of the occupiers' raid was not limited to the Tangi Ahmad Khan area alone. Their grip of terror extended to the people of this region as well. Some were put to eternal sleep, while others faced deep wounds and suffering. One night, when the cloak of silence had covered the night and the moon was halfway across the sky, the people of the Raga village in the Argor area of this district were peacefully asleep. Suddenly, the dark hand of the invaders' terror struck, and the village was engulfed in fear and chaos. That night, 13 people were martyred. When Bayatullah speaks, his voice becomes heavy. He tells the story of that night in a very quiet manner. That moment always lingers in his mind, when his brother was captured by the occupiers and, just a little ahead of them, was martyred, taking his last breath right there.
When they came here, it was around 9 o'clock at night. It was during Ramadan. They raided us while we were sitting inside the house. They came and mercilessly martyred our brother. And they martyred many others as well. They were extremely ruthless. It was a very painful scene. They came here, martyred our brother just a little further from this spot, and then entered our house. Whatever belongings we had inside the house, they took everything with them. We weren't even mujahideen or anything like that, but still, they treated us so mercilessly. At that time, I was young, around 17 or 18 years old. There was sorrow. There was a lot of sorrow, but we stayed patient for the sake of Almighty Allah. Whenever they came, they accused us, saying, "You are terrorists, you are Al-Qaeda, you are this, you are that." But everyone knows the reality.
That night, the fire of terror in Argor spread to every home in the village. The scattered pieces of living beings lay everywhere. The villagers, out of sheer helplessness, gathered the remains of the martyrs and buried them together. Ido Merkel, a resident of the area, speaks of how some moments of grief have left permanent marks on his soul. He says that even now, whenever Eid arrives, the people of this region are overcome with sorrow, remembering their martyrs and mourning their loss.
6
years ago, when the Americans raided this place, people fled their homes in fear, everyone ran out in panic. They hit the Americans, shot at them and bombed them right here. We had to gather people's scattered body parts, the hands of one, the legs of another, and bring them together. All of them were martyred in this very place. We gathered the bodies here and handed each person their martyrs. 3 of them were from another village, and 9 were from our own village. The raid lasted until 1 o'clock in the night, and then they all left for Kust. Whether it was women or men, everyone suffered. They all faced terrible hardships. For these 20 years, we've all been through immense pain. Everywhere, in every village, on every road, people have endured suffering. There was another raid after that. For 3 nights, they tied people up and locked them inside mosques while they roamed freely. They broke into houses, broke the chests and boxes, and looted belongings. They did whatever they wanted. We are a people who have suffered greatly, but we are united, strong, and proud. We have honor and stand firm together. When the raids happened, some were martyred inside the mosques, others inside their homes. 13 people were martyred. The rest, they destroyed their properties, their livelihoods, and left everyone devastated. For 20 years, this area lived under the shadow of fear. Wherever you went, life was lived in fear. It was such a horrific scene that women and men couldn't even feel the joy of Eid. Even today, when Ramadan comes, those who lost their husbands still feel the pain as if it were that same day. The cries of that day still echo in everyone's minds. Those 13 funerals, 3 from another place and the rest from our village. The bombing started from up there, so fierce that no hands or legs were left intact. We gathered all the body parts in sheets and brought them to the mosque.
At a time when the days and nights here were filled with fear, not only the elders but also the children of this village lived in insecurity. Syed, a young boy from the village, speaks in short, hesitant sentences, his throat dry with emotion. With anxious eyes, he says that his father, the anchor of his life, was lost during a raid, swept away by the crashing waves of life's turbulent sea.
The Americans dropped a bomb on us. They brought me a drink. He was martyred. He climbed up to the rooftop, and then they dropped a bomb on him.
3 years have passed since the 20-year occupation and the tragedies that followed. Now, the people of this region have returned to a beautiful and peaceful life. Everything in this area has become beautiful again, cradled by the embrace of its stunning nature. The streams now flow with clear water, and the mountains that once burned in the fire of occupation, raids, and explosions, now appear lush and green, replacing the black smoke with vibrant life. The children, who once ran to the mountains in fear of raids, now race in the playgrounds. The school bells that were once silent during the raids, and the doors of the madrasas that were closed, are now open, with children joyfully heading toward their future, their backpacks on their backs.
Alhamdulillah, now we are living in peace. Our life is much more comfortable now. We can even go out in the middle of the night without any problem. Before, whenever we had a sick person or any emergency, we couldn't go outside. The sick would suffer until morning because we couldn't leave for Kust or any other province to see a doctor. But now, whenever we feel like it or need to, we can go anywhere at any time. The only thing is, those whose homes were destroyed, they still don't have the strength or resources to rebuild their houses.
As a national, independent, and dedicated media outlet, we reflect the voice of the people. And we present to citizens and the international community the atrocities, horrors, and crimes that occurred during the 20-year occupation of Afghanistan, in a documentary format. If you have also witnessed events such as raids, atrocities, horrors, or other crimes committed by foreign occupying forces during the 20-year occupation in your area, you can share them with us via WhatsApp. This will allow us to document them in both our national languages and in English, prioritizing their broadcast on the national TV screen. Our contact number, 074-434-3668.